Well, good morning. Well, this morning I want to talk about do your little hobbies in your backyard, do they help each other? All right, let's do that. Okay, I want to talk about that. I think it's kind of important and just kind of one of those things that you don't always think about. And sometimes, you got your little backyard hobbies or whatever you do in your spare time for fun. And, you garden. I'm kind of a backyard farmer. I've got chickens and I've got rabbits and I do the garden. And we're kind of talking maybe this fall about putting in some fruit trees because we've got some extra spots. And I'm going to show you the spot I'm talking about here after a bit. But, you know, mine fairly well dovetail. In other words, the rabbits, they can eat some garden waste, as can the chickens. And the rabbits in particular, their manure is worth every penny. I mean, it's to me, for garden fertilizer, that it's wonderful. You can't beat it. It's mild. You can put it on any time. Like when I did my onions, I put a bucket of that stuff, 5 gallons of rabbit manure, and just trickled it out in that 16-foot row. And then I just ruffled the ground a little bit with my trowel. I planted my onions. Well, that'll give them enough boost. They'll get through the season that way. That's enough. I did it last year in about everything I did, And I kind of got away from the idea of I just need to fertilize this whole bed to I can put it right in the row. I can put that stuff right where the plants are, instead of using it the other way. I can put it right there where the plants are and they get it. And it's great, you can't beat it. But those two hobbies go together and help each other. The chickens also eat some garden waste. Now they don't really tie into the garden. They don't really contribute to the garden. Their manure is very hot, and I tend to just sprinkle it out in the yard. But it's kind of starting to work that way because I spend a little money every year on mulch, and I've talked about that. And this year I got lucky. I got a big load of leaves from a neighbor that saved me some money. I think I only bought 4 bales of straw this year at $6 a piece. But think now, usually I buy 10, that's $60 plus tax. So that's enough money to talk about. Well, as I'm walking my chicken tractor around the backyard and I rake out the little coop, and then of course when they're in their run, they're dropping their droppings, so to speak, and they're ruffling up the ground a little bit. That's making the grass grow. I'm noticing that my backyard grows faster than it used to. Well, this summer I'm going to start. I bought a pull behind yard sweeper. Okay, so I want to, every time I mow my yard, when I get done, hook up that little sweeper and make a few passes across the heaviest spots and where there's noticeable grass on top of the ground, and carry it to the garden. And there's my mulch, and so I won't have to, between my neighbor raking his yard and running the sweeper a little bit, I won't need to buy anything. So my 3 hobbies in the backyard all kind of fit together, and they all kind of help each other. So, I just thought that was an interesting thing to think about and talk about, is if your hobbies fit together, if they're helping each other, to survive or to do better or not, if I don't think anybody's going to drop a hobby that they have and pick up something else just to make that all work, but it's kind of fun or kind of interesting to think about. Well, all right, I'm going to take you on a little tour, so to speak. I'm going to show you. Uh, we've got an empty lot on each side of our house. One of them we came with the house. It came on two lots, so it it's got a garage on it that I use. That's where all my small engine stuff is, and I do a lot of that. Um, and I, store my mowers, and I've got my motor scooters out there, and all that. But then we bought an empty lot on the other side, which makes it kind of nice. Now it's about an acre and a half altogether, and it's kind of nice because we're not just right next to anybody. My neighbor across the street is a very nice man. Him and his wife, they're quiet. We don't have too much trouble with them, so we don't have any problems with them. We're glad they're around. All right, well, let's do that. Let me show you a couple of things, and before I go on the little tour, I'm going to show you my a container that I just found a couple of days ago. I spoke about, use what you got. Grab whatever you've got and plant some containers. Well, this is the most unusual container I have. Well, all right. Now, if that isn't an unusual container, I don't know what is. Okay? I forget where we got this thing. I didn't buy it by any means, but we have it, and it doesn't have a ringer with it, and it had been out in the rabbit building, and I'd been using it a little bit for just to scoop some of the manure into to get it out of my way occasionally, and things like that. Well, all right, we'll go on and I'll show you some more stuff. All right, this is between my backyard and the alley. This is part of the second lot, so and there's my garage up there with a lawnmower sitting in front of it because I'm going to jump back on it today. This is the cane patch, and you got to kind of look close, but you can see cane starting to come up again, so it's around there. So we'll just go for a little walk. All right, well, this is the other part of this, kind of what would be where the house would have sat and front yard. And there's the old truck. And so right in here, between here and the road, is where I'm thinking about planting some fruit trees this fall. And I think fall's the best, is a good time. That's when I'd like to plant them. Might do next spring, but usually fall, if you plant fruit trees then, they've got a chance. They'll sit there over the winter as long as you don't let them get totally dry. If you put a little water on them once in a blue moon through the winter, and then they can take off first thing in the next spring. Well, okay. And the redbud trees in the front yard are growing crazy. But I just kind of thought, give everybody a little bit more of an idea where I live and what it's like. Okay, here is the other lot. All right. And the lot goes almost over to that other house. I think they've got about 10 foot of side yard there. Makes a lot of mowing, but gives us a little buffer. So all right, that's all I've got today. I want you all to have a quality day.